Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 13 of Europa Universalis IV. We've still got this pretty massive war going on against Burgundy, although we have managed to trash their army pretty heavily. We are starting to siege a lot of their provinces, which is going to be really good. Now the ledger says they've got quite a few units still left. They've got 16,500 infantry somewhere, although I don't know where they are, haven't been able to find any. We are starting to get a few rebel groups pop up now, which is going to be bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go off and deal with that. Hopefully the Castilians and the Portuguese will start to siege the provinces. Now the thing is, because the AI isn't very good at responding to threats with armies, they do tend to just sit there and siege things out. So I'm going to let my allies do the sieging, and I'm going to be the one that moves my armies around and uses them to mop up the trash, basically. This should help things out. We are in a pretty bad position money-wise. We do have an awful lot of loans right now, and that's costing us a lot of money, mainly because we have such a huge army maintenance. We have very little to no manpower, so our entire army is almost made up of mercenaries, and that is costing us a lot of money. And just see where that Burgundian army is up there now. It's too far away for me to deal with, unfortunately, and that is going to do a lot of damage to the Castilians up there. The Portuguese are trying to reinforce. They're not going to get there in time. Unfortunately, my army is quite heavily dinted at the moment, and this isn't helped by the fact that the Castilians spend a lot of time just standing around doing nothing. So once we have dealt with these rebels, and indeed we have, we are going to start moving back. It looks like the Burgundians are going to try and unsiege a province or two, which we prefer not to happen. What we're going to do as well is, this is both of our armies. Both of them should, yeah, they should allow to attach, but this guy doesn't want to come and attach, which is very, very annoying. Still, we are sieging out, which is very, very good. I suppose we could move our armies into Picardy, which means if these guys attack, they would get a crossing penalty. We are actually getting a peace offer from Burgundy, but what I want to do is take Brittany. Now Brittany is going to cost us an awful lot of war score if we want to do that. So Brittany becoming a vassal of England requires a war score of 83, and well, we're just not there yet. We're actually quite a way off getting that. If we could get the war score, which I believe we can. If we can get the war score, then we've got every possibility of being able to do this. Now, it wouldn't cost us that much administrative power, and what I'm tempted to do is to pick up an idea group. We could potentially spend the money and or spend the administrative points and level up our administrative tech. Now, it wouldn't give us an awful lot of stuff right now, but the main thing it would actually give us is a national idea. The problem is there going to be any idea worth taking at this point? What could we potentially have? Because the only thing we've got an abundance of, we won't have an abundance of administrative power because we're going to be spending that. Is there anything along the diplomatic tree that could be all that useful? Again, probably not all that much, not early on anyway. I think we might just save it and see how the war goes. Otherwise, we may just end up spending points on something that we don't need. It would be really nice if the siege of their capital went through quite quickly. That's going to help things an awful lot if they do. We're going to ignore their request for peace at the moment. Let's just double check the missions. Protector against Burgundy. Have an army equal or larger than Burgundy, and that would give us 5 army tradition. I think we can manage that, even though we're quite short on money. We only need a couple of units to be able to actually accomplish this. So let's go ahead and do that. We are going to need this war to end at some point quite quickly though, because the problem that we're going to have is we are just going to run out of money. We've got such a massive amount of loans going right now. This Burgundy seem to be splitting their army up. If they move far enough away, I'm going to jump on them with these guys here. And in fact, I'm going... Right, there we go. We've gained the army tradition. That is fantastic. So you guys are all going to move into Picardy. In fact, you're going to join as well. Okay, they're going down there to fight Castile because Castile were about to win that siege, which is quite gnarly. But you guys are going to go in here and take this guy out. So at least we should decimate their army pretty heavily again. Yep, you're going to get in there as well. Fortunately, Castile are going to go lose down there. We're on 50% war score right now. We did win that fight. Castile lost as expected. We could try and just chase these guys down, which is probably the sensible thing to do. Just to try and hunt down what they've got left. Let's get rid of all these pop-ups because there's like 1,000 of them. Are we not actually attacking this guy? Because it'd be nice if we could. And if we could win that fight, it'd be awesome. We have indeed won that fight. We're now going to work our way down here and deal with these units that are going to very, very hard try and take out these Castilians. Come on, Castile. Just hold on for a day or two until my troops arrive. Very, very close. And we have arrived and reinforced. General Richard Neville is dead. Oh dear. We also have another... Let's get rid of the sound effects there. We also have a naive relative. We can either execute him for treason and lose 75 admin power, or we can lose some national spy defense. I think we'll lose the admin power. We've got plenty of it right now. We've actually lost one of our leaders, which is a real pain. We should still have a leader in this group. And in fact, it's actually a Castilian leader there at the moment, but we'll take that. War score is up to 51%, which is still relatively good. So we will keep going with that for now. Now, we can recruit a new military leader. We've got a free one, but we can only assign them to our troops in friendly territory, which we are not in at the moment. So we're going to try and wipe out this army down here, which we should manage to do, even though they are getting some very good rolls. We did indeed manage to win that. Would be nice to reinforce a little bit. So let us get ourselves our free leader. And we are going to get ourselves a general. And he's not bad. He's Humphrey Smith there. He's pretty much the same as Guy Brock. It's a shame because Richard Neville was a really, really good leader. And it's a massive shame to lose him. But we're going to group all of these guys together. I would like to start chasing some of these guys down, and while we do have a lot of units, we are quite low on morale, and I would like a tick or two for that to go over. Now that it has, I think it's safe to try and jump on this stack of 8. We're not quite at full morale, but we do generally have a better army here. We are getting the crossing penalty, which isn't great, but we do have higher base morale. We have the same tactics. We have higher discipline. Although, again, it does look like it's one of those battles that could go either way at this point. I thought Portugal were going to come in there and reinforce, but it looks like they're going to stand idly by and watch me lose a fight that they could have helped us win. Could still go either way at this point. The rolls are pretty even. We actually won that. I'm amazed. I'm not going to give chase, simply because I have taken too much damage and we've lost too much morale. Their army is broken. We are at 58% of the war score at the moment. They have very, very low war enthusiasm. Ours has just gone back up to high, which is nice. Are we paused? No, maybe we should be. Castile and Portugal are low. They may well peace out, which is going to be a problem. Can we get our demands yet? No, we are still a little bit lower than what we need to be. Not by a massive amount, though. And it would be amazing if we could manage to take Brittany in this way. I certainly think we need to do this. What I'm going to do with these guys, though, is I'm going to move them across. If I'm just going to have them standing around to recover, I might as well have them standing around to recover in a province that they can siege, as opposed to one that's already been sieged. I'm going to speed the game speed up a little bit as well. Need to keep my eye on the main Burgundian army, because they're probably going to start going around trying to either unsiege provinces or trying to kill the armies that are sieging provinces. And if that happens, I will need to pile in with my armies and try and defend against that as best that we can. So we're up to 58% war score. There aren't really any sieges that are close to going through right now, which is a little bit problematic. If we actually had some leaders that had siege, or we actually had some siege weapons, it might be a little bit quicker. We've taken another loan, because of course we completely broke. That's the way our nation works. That little army there of Castiles is slowly starting to flip Vlaanderen, which may go soon. What we should really think about doing is actually going down here and taking Burgundy. That'll be the best target. The problem is with doing that is we'd be quite far away from the battle if the main Burgundian army decided to attack the Portuguese or the Castilians, or started coming up here trying to unsiege stuff. That isn't something that we would particularly like to see. We have a revolt in Loire, which is annoying. So we're going to walk over there and stomp that. As I've had to break this siege to do the stomping, what I will probably do is when we come back, we will go down and try and siege out their capital. Might be just enough to get the extra war score that we need, because it certainly is taking its time. So let's go down and stomp that out right now. Let's keep my eye up here. I noticed the Burgundian army does like to move around every time that I sort of move away from their main lands. And they do have quite a few units that seem to be gathering up there. We should be dealing with these rebels quite nicely. Yes, we have. So we're going to move back up to Burgundy. It's a bit of a trip, unfortunately, making this a big loop all the way around. Still at 58%. We've got a loan that we can't repay because we don't have enough money, so we're going to have to extend it. Here comes in some Burgundian troops to fight the Portuguese. We prefer Portugal not to lose that battle. In fact, though, it looks like Portugal are actually winning. But we've just dogpiled into hell, which secures the victory. And we are going to chase down at the moment because that's quite a weakened army, and we were going to go and head down to Burgundy anyway. They're making another call for peace. Now, it is a bigger army, but they're already pretty trashed as far as morale goes. Chase them down because we can take out that one stack if we're lucky. Managed to chase them down again. Well, that was the one stack that was already there, I think. Right, you've got no chance of getting out of there, surely. 19th of May. Oh, wow. How did you manage that? Let's go straight up. Castile has actually pieced out, which is pretty bad for us. And the main reason that's pretty bad is because any provinces that Castile had actually sieged now no longer count. That is problematic. We are going to have to end this war very soon. Right, you're going to... 11th of June, 6th of June. Okay, I'm going to meet you there. That's another battle won. I mean, we could literally... Portugal has now accepted peace as well. Okay, this is potentially bad. It's not the end of the world yet. And it's certainly not the end of the war. We still have a positive war score. We can still end this war and not lose anything, even if we don't gain anything. So we're going to do the best that we can to try and get a little bit more war score. We're going to keep our eye on their troops. And if it looks like we're going to end up involved in a battle that we can't win, then we will pull the plug. So they are moving some troops. They're probably going to go down to Co. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to siege it and how long it's going to take them to siege it. But if we can get this siege on their capital, and if we can do it quite quickly, looks like they may be coming down here to tangle with us at this point. And then I'm going to have to make the decision whether or not I want to go ahead with the battle if they get this far down. Right, they do seem to be coming in. They seem to be queuing some troops up. I think they're just waiting until they've got enough units together to really make an attack of it. Our Cardinal has died. We didn't invest any money in that Cardinal, so it is fine. Yeah, they do seem to be marching their armies around quite a lot but not doing anything, which is probably the AI being a little bit derpy. If it wants to continue to do that, that is fine. It'd be really nice if we can win this siege quite quickly. Right, they are moving in this time around. Now, this could be make or break. I probably should have declared peace. Now, they do actually have the crossing penalty, although they have actually got some good rolls in here. France, though, has actually declared war on Burgundy. This could be quite useful. I'm just going to slow the game speed down a little bit there. Burgundy are getting some good rolls now, which is typical but not unexpected. Now, if France can get here quick enough, France have actually just reinforced on our side. How about that, France? So even though France and I hate each other, because we're both mutually at war with Burgundy, France have just basically saved our ass. Thanks a lot, France. Wow. Didn't think that was going to happen. And even though Castile and Portugal have peaced out now, this actually makes me think that it's a good idea for me to actually stay in this war a little bit longer. I'm certainly going to stay in this war until we've managed to flip the capital, because that makes the most sense. What is France's war goal here, actually? I didn't check. Let's look at the ledger index and look at current wars. Where are you, France? It's the French conquest of Cambrai. Fair enough. But let's let this tick on. Okay, what can we do here? We can either gain 15% trade efficiency and 50 diplomatic power, or gain 439 ducats. Normally, I would always take trade efficiency, but we need the money more than anything right now, just to try and stop us from going bankrupt. 42%, 56% now on the siege of the Burgundian capital. We're at 51% war score. Still looking quite good for us. Their capital has now sieged out. I suppose we just go and siege out some of these other provinces right now. Now, what we could potentially do at this point is literally... we can repay some of these loans. What we could literally do at this point is just leave things as they are. From ticking war score, we're actually going to do quite well. And we can just carry on sieging out the provinces and let the French deal with the Burgundian army, because I don't think Burgundy has any troops left. Would we get our demands met at this point? No, we still wouldn't. How far behind are we? Quite a bit currently. Could we get to 83%? I'm not sure that it's possible. And they've got another army coming in. And they're coming after me. So, although we do have Foix here on behalf of France, they are going to arrive on the 30th. They're going to arrive on the 2nd. Right, if we stay here, we are going to lose. So it's time to peace out. Unfortunately, we're not going to get Brittany as a vassal, which is horrible. However, we can take Amur. We can take Finistère. We can take Mobrihan. We can't quite take Loire. We don't have enough war score to do that. But we could take all but one of their provinces. Now, it does give us a bit more aggressive expansion and a lot more overextension, but I am going to do it. Let's take the speed down. Let's unpause. We now have some more land. What we need to do now is bring back our troops. Now, they're exiled, which means they can basically just march straight across anybody's lands. We are overextended, and this is the reason why I was saving my administrative points, because what we need to do now is we need to go into here, and we need to core all of these places. It's quite expensive because we didn't really have claims on any of them, but we are going to call them. At least now our war has ended. How are things doing over here with Leinster? Their opinion of us has actually dropped a fair bit, mostly from the aggressive expansion. They actually desire Meath, one of our provinces. Now, what we can't do yet is offer vassalization, because they still have a negative opinion of us. Mainly, that is because of the English tax base. So I'm never too sure how this works with tax base, whether it means that my tax base is much higher than theirs or much lower than theirs. So what I could do is try and increase my taxes, and it certainly would help. But for the time being, we're going to leave things as they are. We're going to start to bring troops home, although having them around here to help with rebel stomping could be useful. And in fact, what we are going to do, Brittany's actually left the military coalition against us. That's mainly because they've only got one province. We are going to go around these provinces and use some of our military power just to subdue the rebels, because less rebels is always better. And what we are going to do is we're going to take our military, and we are going to detach the mercenaries, and we are going to disband the mercenaries because they're costing us a ton of money. So as you can see, the remaining army we've got is actually very, very low. If we look, it still says we have 6... I'm going to repay that loan and that loan. It still says we have only 6 units. 6 of 41. I mean, we've got a really small army at the moment. We still have no manpower. And this is our really big problem here. What we could do is build an armory, which we probably will do, if we can afford to. We can build one, and we'll probably put it in London, which will increase our manpower. So if you look at the numbers actually show you how much manpower that you're getting, and it shows you what an increase you will get. So for example, Oxfordshire, I get 99 manpower, and building the building here will give me an increase of 27. Whereas London is giving me 216, and building the building here will give me an increase of 30. So we're going to go ahead and build that in London, and that will help my manpower out somewhat. And we'll just wait for these troops to arrive safely. They will reinforce over time. At least we're now back into making money, because we still have high army maintenance, but we can go back to trading now. In fact, speaking of back to trading, we need to take this fleet here, and we need to tell them to protect trade, go back to the North Sea trade node. Now you might find that they actually go and dock and repair first. Yep, they're actually repairing up, so they're doing everything they should be. No mission selected. Create an army for our nation. We have an army size at least 75% of our force limit. It is something that we intend to do. Novgorod's opinion of England at least 125. That could be nice for the Diplo power. What we get here though, army tradition. Army tradition is always nice, and we do need to build our army up. So we're going to take that mission there. Our army has arrived. Now, we do now have a lot of the French coastline. In fact, if we can actually take Loire in a subsequent war, looks like France have also taken Provence, which is a little bit annoying, but we can start to cut up France's access to the coast, and that is going to be a really big help. However, there isn't an awful lot more that we can do on this video. In fact, we'll just let it tick over to the 1st of the month, so we get some more of those lovely virtual monies, and we will continue next time. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are still enjoying Europa Universalis IV, and I'll see you next time. So until then, goodbye for now.